Hey, hello, here today with,
Dietrich.
and what did you just do?
I won the remote duel YCS. It's crazy. Sounds weird to say for sure. I played Invoked Dogmatika with like the DP engine. I played in the tournament 4 Sword Soul, 3 Bird, and 2 PK. So that adds up to 9 instead of 10. So I played my first round against Sword Soul, and my second round, if you watched the finale, I talked about how my grandmother passed away. I had been visiting Minnesota, which is where I played the event. I live in Chicago because she had been sick for a while, and she had always been like really supportive of me playing Yu-Gi-Oh. She actually paid for my flight as a birthday present for my first YCS, so she always was like texting me during events, asking me how I was doing, asking for pictures and all that stuff. So she was like a really big part of my life and a part of me pursuing this hobby. And she ended up passing away as I was playing day one. While I was in round 2, I sat down, shuffled up my deck, and got a call on my phone. So my mom called me, and I went to her house to be with my family. And my family like really encouraged me to keep playing because she was like so like ecstatic that I was playing another event since COVID had happened. I hadn't been playing in a lot of stuff, so she'd been looking forward to me playing in it like all week. So I thought I should go and play it, and I hadn't missed enough time to where I would have lost an additional round. So I was 1-1, and then I came back to my house. Played the rest of the tournament, and I didn't lose anymore. So I finished X1-1. I drew my last round of Swiss. It was just like a really grindy game 3 or game 2. Yeah, I won game 1 and game 2 he won in time, so we drew. But yeah, I played Invoked Dogmatika. Let's get into the very cool list. I played 3 Alistairs, pretty standard, obviously. 3 Ecclesia, Maximus, and Fleur. It's like the really standard ratio. Some people play one of this if like they're playing like more tech cards, I suppose, but this is a starter and it like makes DP with Alistair if it gets negated or something. So all like really good cards you want to max out on.
I noticed on some of your past lists you were playing 3 Maximus for a while. Did you ever miss playing more copies, or you just thought one is just like really all that's needed?
So yeah, the first remote duel YCS, I finished X2 after Swiss and I missed Top Cut, which was crazy. And I was playing 3 Maximus in that list. And the reason I'm only playing 1 here is just because of space. It's like a great card, but like back when I was playing 3, there wasn't like the DP engine. It was just the Shell engine. Whereas like that card was only live going second, whereas the DP stuff is like a going first starter, like in a way, because you get to draw 2 eventually. So I didn't think it was really necessary.
Makes sense.
For the hand traps, 3 Ash and 3 Droll. So I'd come to the conclusion before this event that the bird deck was the best deck, definitely the deck to beat. So I was meaning Droll. At the other YCS, that was like 2 weeks ago, I was playing Nib instead of this. And I think Nib is probably better overall, but you just have to take into account that this Swiss was like a month ago, so the format has definitely changed more towards Sword Soul and stuff like that. But yeah, both of these cards have the very cool thing that they can be normal summons and they can make All Mirage. And then you can use All Mirage and any of the Dogmatika monsters that you're able to summon to make Ferte, or like to make Maximus live or something like that. So a little cool interaction.
Yeah. For those that don't know, you're forced to play the list you topped with, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you couldn't edit, even though it's like a month ago. As you were saying, the format has definitely shaped itself a lot more since then.
Right. And then I played the 2 bricks. These cards are fine. I popped a Mystic Mine with this. That's
MVP.
Cool. This card has an effect. And this card also has an effect where it gets boosted. And it has a lot of attack points, which is kind of cool. If you're like DPE gets banished or something and you're forced to summon this out. You usually summon, or you almost always summon this one out. If your DP like activates, then it gets banished later. Because this one has the effect where it can't use the effect to draw the turn it's sent to grave. So you want to summon this one out and like crash it or link it away or something to get it back in grave so you get the draw effect. And then for the spells, I played 3 Meltdown, Terraforming, 3 Pot, 3 Fusion Destiny, 3 Droplet, 3 Nadir. So like these are all like the really good, crazy, insane cards that make this deck broken. This literally lets you add any of the other like half of the engine that you're missing, or you can like add this. This really helps you play around Droll. Droll is like a big problem for the deck, so this really helps that. Droplet, like you get so much value off of it because you're able to like send the additional pluses you're getting. So like you like will Meltdown, search Alistair effect a search, and then make Secure Gardener, and then you can activate Droplet, sending Meltdown and Secure Gardener. And even the Invocation if you want to chain to it, so you're getting a free like 3 negates with just this card, so it's pretty cool.
Lets you play through Valor and Imperm too with all your normal summon effects.
Yeah, so you can use this to dodge that stuff with on Verte or on Alistair or something like that, so pretty cool. I played 2 Invocation. This is definitely incorrect. Like I said, I was prepared for the bird deck, and the bird deck was playing Crow pretty like heavily at the time. And I was pretty scared of Crow on my Invocation, so I was playing 2. But 1 is definitely correct now. I played 1 for the other YCS. And I think like it's like just so accepted like in the Invoked deck that you play 2, but just because it's accepted doesn't mean it's correct. So yeah, I think I just play 1 of this for sure in the future. And I play 1 Call by the Grave. This card is not very good in my opinion. It's like, you know, out of my list, it's like for Droll in theory or for like the DP stuff or something like that, but I definitely don't think I would play it again. It wasn't very good for me. And then for the trap cards, pretty standard. Just the Schism, Punishment, and the 3 Imperm. Now this is the best hand trap in my opinion. Because against the bird deck, you like hit their Tri-Brigade monster they summon, or this can like negate Moye, or it can be a draw for turn to negate stuff. So definitely a really good card. I played 40 cards in my main deck. Another card I think I would consider playing that isn't in my list is Mystic Mine. I'd probably replace this for Mine. I liked Mine a lot. I played it for the other YCS. It was really good. Being able to like mine your opponent and then make perk and like clear their board is huge, especially against like the bird deck. So definitely a card I would consider.
Did you ever consider playing 3 more hand traps instead of what is it, Droplet in your list, or do you just think having the board breaker card was good?
I think Droplet is like really strong right now. Another card I like considered maining is just like Tikaboo. I think Tikaboo is crazy. Because like if you're able to even set up partially against Sword Soul, you can flip it on them, and if they like don't have Baron, they pretty much lose because you're gonna outgrind them with the Alistair engine. So Tikaboo is like something to consider, but not like another hand trap.
Gotcha.
Let's see. Let's do extra, I suppose. So for the links, Secure, Almirage, Verte. So you cannot make this if your Alistair gets chaliced, which is crazy. I didn't catch it, and my opponent didn't catch it. Top 4 was just a really crazy match. Going back and watching the VOD, we both missed a lot of stuff. Obviously all unintentional, with me making this illegally and having us to reverse the game state, which was just a crazy situation all around. And then game 2, me getting OTK'd with an illegal activation, which also like wasn't an intentional thing on my opponent's part either. Like it's top cut. It's a stressful environment. You have hundreds of people watching you for every little thing that you do, and people make mistakes. It's just part of the game. Unfortunately, everybody's human. So
yeah, I think that's important to remember. I mean, the judges didn't catch it right away, and they're supposed to be there literally just watching your match. Right. So I mean, it's definitely different having thousands or hundreds of people watching your match online than just being there in the moment.
Yeah. We'll talk about Verte for a second. So I'm playing like the DP stuff, obviously. I'm also siding the Shaddoll engine. So I'm playing 3 Fusion, Aerial, and Dragon. So something that is kind of cool that came up is like I had already resolved, or my Fusion Destiny had gotten negated, I think, and I had to normal summon this out, and my opponent had a Breaksword Engrave and a Rusty on field. So I normal summoned it, and my opponent was like, you know, you're assuming I wasn't going to be able to like make the DP thing live, obviously, because I normal summoning one of the bricks. But I normal summoned it and linked into this, and they didn't pop it, and I was like, all right, cool. And I just sent shit all fusion, so that was crazy. Kind of interesting play that this can be used for more than one thing post side is really cool. This card is really great. It helps you protect against blackout, as you saw in the finals. You can tribute obviously and protect one of your monsters, doesn't protect both, but you usually protect the more important one, which is like Makaba or like Maximus or something like that.
It's similar interaction with DPE too, playing around it.
Right. Yeah. Let's see. Played Omega. Shout out to DB Grinder for this one. He really sold me on this card. I was like kind of up and down about it, but I kind of came to the conclusion that like getting rid of DP is pretty important. Putting back the tennies, which is like how the Sword Soul deck is able to like out Winda, is really important. And also, if you're able to maintain a Maximus, what you can do is just send these two every single turn, and you're popping a card every single turn. So it's just like a really cool thing that you can do. Is just continue to recycle your resources over and over, and like just putting stuff back is huge. So yeah, Omega was crazy. For the Shadals, Construct, Winda, Apcalone, pretty standard stuff. Some people don't play this, but this card is really important. Some people don't realize the fact that if you are playing with just Dogmatika cards, like let's say your Alistair gets negated and you like make Secure Gardener or something, and then you summon Ecclesia, Ecclesia gets Maximus, you summon Maximus, uses effect, gets Schism, all that stuff, and you have Tikaboo, and let's say your opponent outs your Winda and you have to use the Tikaboo, you're locked into spellcasters. So what you need to do to be able to play is fuse away the Winda and the Secure Gardener into something that's not, a spellcaster, so a fairy monster. So that allows you to make Verte and continue applying pressure with your Floodgate face up on the field. So this being a different type is really important. And obviously it lets you add back Schism if you don't want to discard a card, if you start with Nadir. And it's like, another thing that you can make with Shadal Fusion. That actually came up in my top 16 match. Jesse played around my Shadal Fusion by using the Quick Play Tenny spell to tribute his monster. And I had to fuse with the Nib and the Shadal Dragon in my hands to make this. So, it ended up working out, which is pretty cool. For the Invoked cards, we have 2 Makaba, Purg, Ragin, and Augities. 2 of this is necessary in like kind of a niche situation where your Makaba will survive past turn 1. You just normal summon Alistair, and then you'll link these 2 into a Verte, and then you activate the invocation that you search to make your second Makaba to make sure your Verte is protected from like Veiler or something like that. So it definitely comes up, and it's also something you can banish off pot. Purg, this card steals games. People are asking me why I didn't make this card game 2 of the finals. And honestly, I just really wanted to play it safe. Obviously, there's like, he had an open board, and I definitely should have just gone for it. But I was just really trying to play safe. I was up a game. I thought I had good card advantage, and I wanted to like maintain that advantage and not do anything crazy. But I definitely should have made this and gone for game, but a little too passive for sure. Ragin, this card doesn't really come up. It's okay against the bird deck. It outs the barrier statue, which is important, I suppose. And if you have Meltdown, they can't respond to this. And same thing with Augities, they can't respond to this if you have Meltdown. So this is also your way of getting rid of DP. You like bait the negate, then you'll use Alistair and the DP to summon this. So it gets rid of it, which is nice. And then for the rest of the fusions, DPE, Entis, and Titanic Clad. Pretty standard stuff. This card's crazy. I would probably play a second one of this instead of the Raging. I know that's what my friend Tommy Williams did, so I thought that was a pretty good idea. I definitely change that going forward, I think. Unless people start playing the barrier statue, then I would consider playing something else.
Did you ever miss a second copy of Winda? Or do you just think if they out the first one, they're probably just killing you or winning?
Yeah. Like, Winda, I literally hardly summon Winda the entire event. You don't usually get that far.
Yeah,
a second one never came up for me.
Yeah. That's good to hear though, because I feel like a lot of people think that this deck only wins with like you know sitting on Winda, and like if you're winning a lot of obviously if you're winning the tournament without summoning Winda that much, that says a lot about the deck.
Yeah, I don't think I summoned Winda in the entire top cut, honestly. I'm trying to think. I had the opportunity to, but he had the Vishuda to bounce it, so.
Yeah, I think that was what I remember as well. It just didn't make sense to send it to summon anything.
Yeah, so I decided to not activate, because he like used Omega to like put back my app clone to like force my Schism. So I just not activate it. Because if I did activate it, I would be putting an extra deck monster on the field that was just going to get bounced. So I decided to keep the extra deck monster that he was taking from my grave and putting it back in my extra, so I had another thing to banish off Prosperity, because you can run out of things to banish sometimes. Then for the side deck, 3 Tikaboo. This is the best card in the deck, in theory. It does everything you want it to do. All of your monsters are like different types, so like the only thing that like kind of conflicts is Alistair and the Dogmatika monsters. Like if you have like Maximus and then you only play so like normal summon Alistair next turn, then you can't do that obviously, but that comes up pretty rarely.
I mean, that means your Tikaboo stuck, so that's you're probably winning in that situation either way.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I played 3 Nib. This should have been the main deck for sure. But like I said, I was wanting to play Droll instead. But yeah, I definitely swapped those two.
I think it being light is good utility too.
Yeah, it being light, and then also you're like nibbing them obviously, and then you're summoning it to the board, so it's a material for Verte if your Alistair gets negated. Which comes up a lot, so definitely a good card. I played Duster for the spell and trap card stuff. I don't think I'd play this card again. It didn't really come up. Reboot and Double Cosmic. This card is crazy. You want something that is not able to be negated by Flare in the Sword Soul deck, because if they have Order plus Flare, you lose. Unless you draw like Cosmic plus Droplet or something crazy. So if they order you and they have Flare, you're able to use Reboot and they can't respond to it, which is very helpful. And Cosmic was like just for generic removal. I wanted something that like was good against those decks and also could like hit Scythe, but I never got Scythe, so.
Were you siding it in against the Scythe decks?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, for sure. And the last 5 cards were the cards that carried me all the way to the finals.
Best Shaddoll card?
Yeah, Shaddoll Fusion is the best card ever printed. Like, you have 3 Fusion Destiny in your deck, and now you have 3 more. It's just, like, absolutely crazy. Just you know, similar thing, sending materials from deck, but, yeah, people weren't really playing around it. People weren't really expecting it. It won me so many games, it was absurd. People were playing, like, the 1 aerial, but, like, if you think about it, like, if people are already doing that, then you're just adding 1 additional brick and 3, like, absolute bomb cards. Like, this plus Meltdown is crazy because they can't respond to app clones effect or anything in the chain link, actually. So that's just absurd. Yeah, this card put in so much work. It was, like, the thing that got me all the way to the finals, like I said. So definitely would recommend playing these cards.
Yeah, I feel like the Dragon, like, the interaction's just so cool. Definitely, like, I feel like a lot of better players will, like, hold their cards because, like, the more unknown, the more you have to play around. So it's like Dragon being in position you can pop stuff seems really good when they can't respond to it if they're holding it and just don't think about Shaddoll Fusion.
Yeah, also, like, this came up a couple times. In a simplified game state, this is huge. It's 1900 attack. It attacks over Taie and Moye. So that would, like, imperm them. And if I didn't have a play, I would just normal summon this and back over.
Good old LOB Yu-Gi-Oh!
Yeah, exactly.
My monster's
right?
big.
Yeah, for my shoutouts, shout out to JY Sharif. That man has been a great friend of mine since day one. That man was a worlds competitor, and I was a kid in just starting high school, and he gave me so much advice when I just started playing the game. So I really could not have gotten as far as I did without him. Shout out to that man. Shout out to my team, Midwest Gaming, best team. Shout out to Vamos a la Playa group chat, Caleb and Brian. Yeah, I really would like to say that I appreciate how kind and helpful everyone has been to the community, to me in the past couple days. A lot of people were like, I liked your interview and I appreciate what you said and all that. So everyone has been so helpful and nice. I just really would like to thank the whole community for supporting me, from Minnesota and from Chicago combined. And I really truly say I would not have been able to do this without everybody's support. So thank you all so much. Yeah, that's it.
All right. Well, thanks so much and congratulations, man. We hope to see you continue to win and do well and prosper. Have a good one. Thanks.